Hi! Thanks for joining me today as we learn about tracking English language learners in your school. All teachers share in the responsibility of programming, supporting, and monitoring English language learners. This module will provide training to you, the secondary school teacher or administrator, on the use of the ESL tab feature in Teach Assist. This will enable you to support the process of ongoing monitoring per the April 2016 system memo. So let's get started. The Ministry's English Language Learners Policies and Procedures document outlines the requirements for implementing ESL/ELD programs and services and procedures to ensure the ongoing monitoring of each English language learner. Beginning in September 2015, information regarding the program level of all English language learners has been fed from Trillium into class lists inside Teach Assist. Information about the student's ESL level 1 to 5 now appears beside the student's name. These levels correspond to ESL courses A through E, depending on the student's course enrollment. The code 6Accommodate means that while the student has completed ESL programming, he or she still requires focused academic supports in the form of accommodations in order to meet the language demands of the Ontario curriculum. Timely access to information is intended to support teachers in providing the necessary program adaptations in instruction, assessment, and environment as required by the individual student. Teachers can access planning supports for the provision of accommodations from the ELL page on the BWW and within the STEP document. It is important to note that a student is considered an English language learner if their first language is not English or is a variety of English that is significantly different from the variety used for instruction, and they require focused educational supports to assist them in attaining proficiency in English. Educational research clearly shows that for most ELLs, it takes 7 to 10 years to develop academic language proficiency. English language learners should receive support until they have reached the level of proficiency required to learn effectively in English with no ESL/ELD support. This means that almost all students who begin secondary school in an A to E ESL course will require program accommodations until graduation or beyond. It also demonstrates the differences between conversational and academic language development. Students typically develop fluency in everyday conversational English within 1 to 2 years of exposure. This reflects the fact that we use predominantly high-frequency vocabulary in our daily conversation, and that there are many clues to meaning in face-to-face conversations, such as gestures, eye contact, and facial expressions. Teachers can sometimes be misled by the high degree of oral proficiency demonstrated by many English language learners in their use of everyday English, and may mistakenly conclude that these ELLs are equally proficient in their academic English use. The decision to discontinue program support for an English language learner is made by the principal in consultation with the student, parents, and ESL/ELD and classroom teachers. To support this process, and as well as to maintain accurate ESL data, ESL/ELD teachers will provide information at the end of each semester for updates to the Trillium tab regarding the ESL level of all students enrolled in an ESL/ELD course, levels 1 to 5, including students who have completed ESL/ELD programming but still require accommodations, referred to as 6Accommodate. Classroom teachers are asked at the end of each semester to complete an ESL report within Teach Assist for students who were flagged as 6Accommodate on their class list at the beginning of the semester. This will indicate whether accommodations are still required. Here is how to complete the Class ELL report. In the Reports tab, click the ESL 6Accommodate button. The list of students who were flagged as 6Accommodate will appear. Based upon your classroom assessment evidence, indicate whether continued accommodations are required by the student to support academic achievement and language development. The default setting is yes, this student still requires accommodations moving forward. For all students who will still require accommodations moving forward, no action is required. For any student whose assessment evidence indicates that he or she no longer requires accommodations, click No. When finished, click Submit. Complete steps 1 through 3 for each of your classes. The information provided by each classroom teacher is collated within Teach Assist by student. This is so a summary of recommendations can be accessed by the principal to support decisions regarding continuation of ESL/ELD support for individual students as per Ministry Policy Section 2.10. Principals can use this information to support decision-making regarding the continuation of ESL/ELD support for an English language learner. No action is required for students for whom teachers indicated that accommodations should continue. These students' names will appear in the Yes column. Students for whom all teachers indicated that accommodations are no longer required will appear in the No column. For each of these students, principals communicate with parents and students. A program end date is entered in the ESL tab. This student will no longer receive accommodations. Students for whom teachers provided different recommendations will appear in the Mixed Missing column. Principals may use a promotion meeting to discuss each of these students, calling upon classroom and ESL teachers if and as needed to determine whether accommodations will continue. Once a decision has been made, the student's name is moved to the appropriate column and the necessary steps are followed as previously described. Principals can print a list of the final recommendations to give to the secondary office administrative assistants to make the necessary updates in Trillium. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching about how to track English language learners in your school through Teach Assist. If you need more information, please contact our curriculum coordinator for ESL/ELD programming.